Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sisters of the Strange. I'm Shae.
And I'm Landrey. I don't know why my brain just now said, and I'm Shae. Like, that's where my brain was at. For those of you who are new here, we are just two sisters who are covering paranormal and murder and mystery and whatever else is thrown our way. I feel like we've gotten a lot more people showing up lately.
Yeah.
And so just wanted to kind of reiterate who we are and what we do.
We just do weird shit. We talk about weird stuff.
Pretty
and
much.
We have fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's what I commented. Someone the other day said, I'm so happy I followed you. And I was like, welcome to the strange.
Yeah.
Because
for real. I know every time I want to be like, welcome to the shit show.
That's exactly what it is.
And we're back.
That was very, what is it? Anchorman?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that
was
movie
the
in
point.
a long time. That was it.
That's all.
On par.
It's your turn this week.
It is. That's exactly what I said. I said, this is my week.
Woo!
So everyone shut up and listen to me. I'm kidding.
Everybody sit down, shut up, and listen.
Okay. So this week we're going to run off of a recommendation by dear old Caitlin. Our old Caitlin Alexander.
Oh!
Well, I mean, she's married now, so that is definitely not her name anymore.
Caitlin Smith.
Yes. That's up to you, girl. But yeah, no, we've actually recorded this episode before, and I absolutely hated how it turned out, and I said, So I redid the story, and
Did she recommend this one?
she did. She commented somewhere and was like, "Oh, if you haven't done it, you need to." And we were like,
Okay,
it might have been
sis,
in the-
I see you.
It might have been in the messages. That's so we both are on the social medias, and so we'll both open a message. And so like yesterday, someone messaged, and I sent it to Shae, and I said, "This is for you."
Yeah, and I'll be like, oh, you need to go look at the DMs. Somebody said something for you.
Yeah. And so I think she said this. I think it was her who said it.
Oh, maybe I just didn't realize.
I think it was in the Instagram messages, but I could be wrong. So if you didn't recommend it, then I'm sorry, but I totally thought you did.
I really don't know.
My brain
It's been days.
Yeah, my brain's so scattered lately. I'm sorry, guys. I finally am like light at the end of the tunnel with work, and I feel like I'm not going crazy anymore.
Both at light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I had the flu. I'm so glad that we pre-recorded because I was on my deathbed last week.
Yeah.
Had the flu.
Ugh. For like the second time in a month.
Yes. God, it was horrible. Horrible. And I don't get sick, nor do I like let sickness take over me like a little like helpless little child. Oh, I was Victorian era sick in bed. Like, this is it. This is how I die.
My stepdad sleeps like that, and he's like, he's had a few strokes, and you know, and so me and mom were always like one
Watching
time I
him
had
make
to
sure he's
go,
breathing.
yeah, I had to go check on the dogs or do something for mom. She was at work one day, and I went over there, and I was like, Donnie, and he didn't say anything. And I was like, Donnie, and I like opened his bedroom door, and that's how he was asleep. And I was like, oh my God. I ran out and got, they had a table saw or something, or just something. I ran outside and I got Aaron, and I was like, you need to go check him. I can't do it. And then by the time we went back inside, Donnie was like walking out of his bedroom.
Hello.
He was like,
bless it. Oh my God. I love that.
It's terrifying. Mom says she like pokes him with sticks half the time. She's like, are you okay? Like,
do something.
Yeah, move, please. But yeah, so this week we're talking about Goatman. He's a creepy little, mischievous little guy. He hides a lot.
Is he a little guy?
No.
Yeah, I think he's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. A big scary guy.
Yeah, he makes me nervous. I mean, like, I don't want to see him, so.
Mm-mm.
So, to fully understand Goatman, I think that we need to go over his mythological counterparts. We mentioned him last time, like Mr. Tumnus type stuff.
Oh, yes.
So, in original Greek mythology, these beings were satyrs. They could be like centaurs too, I think is another word for them.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Satire is what I got the most of. It was SATYR.
Oh, okay. I was really confused because
Yeah,
I'm
not
thinking
like- is-
satire, like
yeah,
fit,
is
like
this
it's a
satire?
joke.
Yeah. And that's, so I kind of started, I even Googled that today.
Is it?
Where is the saying, is this satire from? And it wouldn't really give me the answer I was looking for, but I was wondering if it came from all of this, because as you'll learn in just a moment.
Okay.
So, in original Greek mythology, these beings were depicted as handsome young men with features more similar to a horse. But
In whose opinion?
they had like long tails and everything. Like they were depicted more with horse-like features, so like horse tails
Mm-hmm.
rather than like a goat tail.
Mm-hmm.
But somewhere between like Roman times and now, they are more hairy human beings with horns, hooved goat-like legs. So somewhere between Greek mythology and like Roman mythology, they transpired into goats.
Hmm.
And as you'll learn, some stories say that they actually are more sheep. Like Goatman is actually not Goatman, he's sheep.
Sheep man.
Sheep man, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as scary.
No, because I feel like Goatman is more tied to like whenever you watch the movie Insidious and it's like the devilly goat man type thing sewing.
Yeah, the
Or whatever.
creepy thing with the big
Horns.
old head and the horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even Sabrina, the not the teenage witch, but the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
The signing the black book, like the devil is like in that whole thing. He's like a giant kind of like goat man guy.
That checks out.
Yeah, so he's just, I don't know. He's transpired. But back in those days, it looked something more like Mr. Tumnus out of Narnia.
Mhm.
So a nice little small, like a satire is not necessarily this 7 foot tall,
Small boy.
scary goat man. Yeah, he was more of this little
Cuddly looking, curly headed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
cunt-headed ninny muggin. That's what just came to mind when you said that. But they were known for their love of music, dance, and wine, and they were normally tied to the Greek goddess Dionysus, and she was like the goddess of wine, music, fun, stuff like that. But they're known for being more playful, mischievous, and lustful in nature.
Okay.
And so they're more fun, like known for being like, it seems like fun, not like mean or scary or creepy, but just like cute, like Mr. Tumnus. And I even think, I do not remember Narnia. I have not watched it in a long time. But does he not end up being a little bit of a trickster at the end? Does he not play some sort of little trick? Does he not?
Yeah.
I could be
He
wrong.
like sets them up, I think.
It feels like it. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's what
I think he does when he takes them back to his like little like
house thingy,
house in the tree or whatever, and he's like drinking, I think, and like he like spills a secret or something, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that," and then they're like, I think so. It's been a while.
Yeah, I tried to rewatch it and I didn't get that far, but I like, if memory is right, he does something a little trickstery, and so that would fall into the Greek mythology of it all, anyways.
Yeah.
But another common name for Goatman or his alias is Pan. Have you ever heard of that? At all?
Yes.
I didn't think I had, and then the more I read, I was like, this somewhere back here is like striking something. So Pan is the god of forests, fields, fertility, and music. Pan is best known for his carnal attraction to nymphs, and he was particularly fond of one named Syrinx. And for her to escape Pan's advances, she turned herself into water reeds. And they said, out of heartbreak, Pan cut down the reeds and made them into a set of panpipes, which he played a haunting tune. To me, that seems more spiteful and evil than heartbreak.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe that kind of plays into later stories of how he turns from being, kind of fun trickstery to more of like a scary type thing. But also, Pan was normally pretty nice, but he did have a dark side, which plays into that as well. And anyone unfortunate enough to disturb his sleep would be overcome with a maddening fear. This maddening fear is what we now call panic. If you have already not put two and two together, the word panic is derived from his name, Pan.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So Pan's ability to induce panic is supposedly what turned the tide in the battle between the gods of Mount Olympus and the Titans. His ear-splitting screams filled the Titans with such fright that they would flee the battlefield.
Ugh.
Which is another thing that Goatman is known for, like his bleeding
sounds.
screams.
Yeah.
So the history of his counterparts, Goatman's counterparts, may help us better understand how he went from being a Greek mythological type of creature that seemed pretty docile and nice into this fearful and more panic-inducing type creature. So I could see like the screams if you wake him up and make him mad, or even just like the mischievous part of it. A lot of the stories, Goatman seems to just kind of be like tricking people. But I still don't know how he went from like this small, nice seeming creature to 7 feet tall, scary, evil guy.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure where that derives from, but a lot of people don't look at the history of him.
Well, it's some deep lore there, I'm pretty sure.
And I think that's probably where a lot of the stories are probably pretty rooted out of history.
Mhm.
So no one is truly sure when Goatman came into America's picture, but most of the references claim his birthplace to be in Prince George's County in Maryland. So in the 1950s, deep within the dense forest, a scientist at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center was performing an experiment so secretive that even his colleagues didn't know what he was doing. He was fascinated with merging species to create something stronger, faster, and more resilient than any creature that existed. One night, his experiment went horribly wrong. His colleagues found his lab the next morning in shambles with cloven hoof prints that led out to the doors into the dense woods. Since then, a half-man, half-goat, presumed to be the scientist himself, has been seen lurking near Fletchertown Road. Locals report seeing a large, goat-like figure with glowing eyes in the wooded areas of Prince George's County. Yes.
If we're making a very powerful creature that's like more powerful than anything in the world, why are we choosing a goat?
I don't know.
Why are we choosing a farm animal? There are so many better options.
That actually reminds me.
That's why I giggled.
There is there's a company here in town, and instead of renting out like their lawn mowing services, they rent out their goats
to clear land.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I was driving one day, like I was in front of Walmart, and I said, because I think it's literally called like the Goatman or something like that or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? And I like read the trailer, and it's like, who needs a lawnmower when you could have goats or something like that? And I was like, honestly, incredibly smart.
Incredibly smart business venture. My mom told me about this not long ago because she thought it was the funniest thing. She had like seen it on like Facebook or Instagram or something that this was like a thing. And she thought it was the funniest thing ever. And then I saw that truck around town, and I was like, oh my God, I sent her a picture of it. I was like, we have it in Weatherford. And she was like, oh my God.
It is here. But it's actually super smart. It is very like innovative.
They will eat anything and everything.
Yeah. Much similar to my dog.
Period.
Send Biggie out there.
Yeah.
A horde of Biggies.
Yes.
But yeah, innovative. But really, I was like, they do what with their goats?
Yes.
But yeah, maybe that's why I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there was better options.
Definitely
maybe
better
maybe he didn't have many options due to like DNA like similarities. Like maybe he only had so many things that he could choose from. Maybe the goat was the best option. I don't believe that, but okay.
I don't believe. Yeah, I don't really know. I never really thought that far. I just believed his.
That's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, okay.
Why a goat? What would you pick instead?
First thing that comes to my mind, shark. Can't live on land. I understand.
No, I just imagine like a shark head, whatever, with just man's legs just fucking running around in the forest. You would be so disoriented. That would be terrifying.
It would be.
That would scare me.
Or a lion.
Yeah, something.
A bear.
Yeah.
Anything. Literally anything else.
Quite literally.
Literally anything else. But I digress.
But we have Goatman.
Here we are.
Okay, so
thankful for the lore.
Yeah. Thankful for this. So another legend in Prince George's County refers to Goatman as a demon who was conjured by Satanists. So this accusation seems a little far-fetched sometimes, but actually, in 1949, an exorcism occurred in Prince George's County, which just so happens to be the exorcism that inspired the classic horror novel. So the novel, The Exorcist, that came out in 1973, seems to actually be based off an exorcism that occurred very close to where Goatman began.
Okay.
So some people say Goatman came from this whole exorcist Satanist group that caused this in that area.
Which, to be honest, in my opinion, seems a little bit more realistic to me.
A little bit less far-fetched than agricultural research guy.
Yes.
Because I don't know what kind of... As I was listening to a different podcast where they kind of go over it, and they're like, why wouldn't you just fix like corn? Why aren't you focusing on corn? And they're like, but then the corn man would be very scary. But they were like, why aren't you just focusing like at a research center? We're focusing on like enhancing corn or growing corn without as much water, which is the thing they're doing in Lubbock. Like they're trying to figure out corn and cotton without as much water. But I thought it was funny. She was like, corn man, that actually sounds really terrifying. And I was like, actually, you're not wrong.
Honestly, anything would be scary.
Anything not human.
Not human?
Woods,
yeah, running around in the woods.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm okay. So Whichever legend you believe led to the Goatman's birth, this county seems to have the best documented stories of Goatman, which might be why Prince George's County seems to be his birthplace.
Okay.
So, on November 3rd, 1971, April Edwards and her friends had become alarmed by peculiar sounds coming from outside the Edwards home. They noticed the silhouette of a large creature walking in a nearby field. Shortly after this, the family's new puppy went missing. On November 30th, 27 days later, an article was published in the Washington Post that shared that the puppy's remains had been found near railroad tracks by two of April's cousins. So the puppy had been found decapitated.
Oh.
Some claim it was the railroad tracks, while others claimed it was Goatman.
I'm not convinced that it was railroad tracks.
No. I would point towards Goatman or April's lovely cousins.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where my brain goes. But the same article revealed that April's cousin, Kathy, which is not one of the ones who had seen the dead puppy, did not find the puppy. And several of her friends saw Goatman seated on top of a pickup truck where it jumped off and then ran into the woods. It is said that he ran into the woods of one of the, behind the Haydens, I do believe it was. And that was one of April's cousins who had found the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's last name was Hayden. So they thought that Goatman jumped off that pickup truck and ran into the woods. Kind of ties together still somehow.
Yeah.
And then another one of April's cousins was interviewed in 1944. Another one of April's cousins was interviewed in 1994 and recounted seeing a creature that was 6 foot tall, hairy, and made a high-pitched squeal, then ran away on 2 back legs. This article ignited a Goatman fever. The police captain, Lawrence Wheeler, noted that numerous other Goatman sightings were being reported. One of the most popular stories tied to Goatman is called The Mutilated Dogs of Fletchertown Road. And that was in the 1970s when there were said to have been a ton of mutilated dogs along the stretch of the road. And the wounds were so deep and savage that it didn't resemble any other type of animal attack that had happened in the area before. Yeah. So they were blaming this. Like, if you look up Goatman in Maryland, that story comes up in every single.
Are there any images?
No, I don't think so. I didn't see any. None of them came across for me. But that's one of the most popular stories, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's lots of wildlife around there. That was going to be what I was going to say, that there's lots of wildlife around there. But if it doesn't match up with any other wildlife attacks, then what else is it?
Yeah.
A vampire. It's probably a Salvatore brother, to be honest.
Truthfully. The Ripper.
Ripper.
To be fair.
Another
of the popular stories in Maryland is that many people will see a horned figure standing off the road, and when their headlights pass or their eyes adjust, the figure is no longer standing there. Some even claim that it disappears but reappears in your rearview mirror when you are past where it had been spotted.
No, I hate that.
I hate rearview mirrors.
Ugh, I hate that.
I think I've said it 1,000 times. Rearview mirrors, we should just not have them.
Fuck safety.
No, we don't need to see what's behind us.
I don't need to see what's behind me.
Nope. How often do you check your rearview mirror as opposed to your side mirrors, though? I feel like I check my side mirrors way more.
I don't know.
I check my rearview mirror when I hit the brakes to make sure no one's coming in my back.
Hot behind you. Yeah, I think that's probably what I do too most often.
Yeah, but that's, I feel like, the only reason I use my rearview. Outside of that, I use my side. Even right now in the whip I'm driving doesn't have a backup camera, which is crazy. I'm like, how do I back up? It doesn't beep, and it doesn't beep at me. I'm like, tell me that there's someone coming, because my car hits the brakes on its own.
Yeah, so does mine.
And this little
scares
thing,
me.
Yeah, I know it does it when there's nothing.
And I'm like, you're driving down the highway, and it's like,
and I'm like, I feel a little crazy when I do that. People are in the parking lot looking at you like, damn girl, ain't nothing to be slamming the brakes for.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, it's my car. I just but yeah, this little car doesn't have a backup camera, and I still feel like I'm not using the rearview mirror as much. I feel like I'm still using the side mirrors.
Yeah, I just don't like that. The option of there being something there when you look.
Yeah, on the side of the road? No. Hell no.
Mm-mm.
Biggest fear, especially leaving out of here. I've told you that 1,000 times. When I leave here during the day, fine. When I leave here at night, just getting to the main road, I'm like, ugh. And I think part of it is how close the trees are to the road.
Yeah.
Because even my drive, there is trees, but they're so far off the road that it's not as scary. It's not as anticipated.
Yeah.
I don't know. The suspense isn't as high.
Shit do be jumping out of these trees. I'll tell you that much.
Whew. Yeah, a little bunny, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Scares me every time. Yeah, every time.
Feel that. So hikers, campers, and those who want to explore the woods often report hearing sounds of a low and guttural growl, high-pitched bleating, and whispers calling out their name in the darkness. One group of teenagers even accounted that on one night, when they were exploring an abandoned structure near the woods, they began hearing branches snapping behind them, and one of them heard a rasping voice whisper his own name into his ear. The group panicked and ran back to the car, but they stated that as they drove away, they claimed to see a dark figure standing at the trailhead peering back at them. So, like, they didn't see the man when they were, Goatman, when they're in the woods. They heard him and he was messing with them, but they saw him once they were in the car safely driving away.
He's like, yeah, bitch, I'm right here.
Yeah, that was me.
Ooh!
What would you do?
I don't know. That's what I'm sitting here thinking. I'm like, are these people, like, reporting this stuff to, like, the authorities? And, like, what do they think? Like, there's got to be at least one person on the force that's like, might be something going on out there.
See,
like, at what point?
Have you read any like park
don't know.
ranger stories?
Mm-mm.
Like any at all? So I haven't read park ranger stories about Goatman, but a lot of the park ranger stories, which I will totally do a park ranger episode one day because there's
They
so
be seeing shit.
much.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things is like they have most of them have like a list, and it's like, don't do this, don't make eye contact. If you make eye contact, back away slowly. So a lot of people I really do think believe in these things and know that they're real and just have a system of like
how
avoidance, basically.
Yeah.
Or how to handle it.
Yeah.
And so I do think that they probably do get a lot of reports, but they have like a secret way of handling it.
Yeah, like
it's
what do they do
like,
with that? Yeah.
What are they like the government with UFOs and stuff?
Yeah, what
like,
are they doing with
system.
that information?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do kind of talk
That's
later
what
on.
I want to know.
I mentioned later on a couple of people who do report to the police and how the police like handle it, but it's definitely not how we would want them to handle it.
Of course not.
So
yeah.
It would make sense if the Maryland Goatman is the inspiration for all the other legends, just based off of how many sightings, media coverage, and things like that he has gotten. But in Kentucky, there is also a Goatman, and he is known as the Pope Lick Monster.
That's a choice.
They really pulled that one out of their ass.
Wait, what? Pope Lick?
Yes, it's because he haunts Pope Lick Creek and the trestle that crosses it.
Okay.
So either way, why do we even name that the creek that?
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Again,
I want to be the person in charge of naming shit like this because you'd get shit like that if it was coming from me. So put me in charge.
Put me in, coach.
So, of course, this Goatman shares a lot of the same origin stories with the other Goatman throughout the world. The crazed old hermit, bestiality, and satanic worship are all kind of the main stories that you'll get throughout the Goatman lore across the world. It's really only in the United States. I didn't read any Goatman stories that were in another country, actually.
Okay.
So I haven't really mentioned the crazed old hermit theory yet, but it's basically an old man who shelters himself in the woods and like torments kids on Lover's Lane. And some say he's like an old man who really loved his goats a little, too much. And that he either became one with the goats or he started attacking people because they all came and killed his goats. That's kind of like the hermit origin story there.
Which is also fucking creepy. Like a freaky old guy just lurking around the woods. Brother, relax.
There's literally
goats procreate very easily. You can make more.
Yeah. You literally can go buy another one for $3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wild.
Loved those were his goats. That was his set,
Don't touch my goats, fool.
Yeah. So the most popular origin story for the Pope Lick monster legend actually involves a circus owner named Silas Garner. According to legend, in the late 1800s, a strange, satyr-like creature was said to have been stalking the vast woodlands of Canada. When word of this odd creature reached Garner, he offered a handsome fee for capturing it and bringing it to him safely. Once the beast was apprehended and brought to him, it became the star attraction of Garner's famed freak show. So, one night as they were traveling to their next show, a lightning storm derailed the train, killing everyone except for the Goatman. He then proceeded to haunt and terrorize the train trestle and anyone who dared enter his territory. So basically, I know.
Territory.
I said it, territory.
Territory.
Jojo Siwa. Me.
Dream guest on my podcast.
Shut up. Shut up. Right now.
Sorry.
We're going to get sued by her now. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyways, yeah, so he was said to terrorize. So basically, he becomes this side freak show thing in the circus. And whenever he gets the opportunity, now he just terrorizes everyone because humans are what trapped him and ruined his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of the main story for the Goatman in Kentucky.
Kentucky. Okay. The train trestle.
Yes, at Poplick.
Poplick.
So the area around Poplick Creek was once a popular makeout spot for Jeffersontown and other Louisville area teenagers because it's near Louisville, Kentucky. And these just so happen to be the type of crowd that Goatman loved to prey on, and that's kind of where this hermit situation comes in, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So one other thing that this Goatman does that is not like the rest is how he chooses to torture his victims. So rather than scratching you and chasing you out of his territory or, whispering in your ear, he uses mimicry, telepathy, and hypnosis to lure you onto the trestle. So mind you, I looked up this trestle to understand these stories a little bit. I was like, how is this a thing? This trestle is almost 100 feet high, and it spans 772 feet across a landscape of fields and scattered trees. So not only is it super tall, it is really long.
Yeah.
So it also has no safety railings on this side. It is still a functioning train trestle.
Oh.
That's what a trestle is like trains go across it. It is still functioning. And so
damn.
He's been known to lure people onto the train track. But basically, once you're on the train track, once you're in the middle, if you hear a train coming, there's nothing to do about it other than jump
or get hit.
Try and run and still get smacked.
Ugh.
So there have been multiple deaths recorded on this trestle. Whether they were the ultimate demise caused by Goatman or the train just itself, no one can tell you that. Clearly, they're all dead. But it is said that once you're out there, the trees block the noise and the lights of an oncoming train, so it'd be easy to get stuck in the middle of these tracks because it's the train. There's clearly a bridge, but I think a bridge goes between one landmass and the other, and so on either side of the bridge, it is like trees up to that point. So I could see where you're on it, just shitting around and don't realize a train's coming, and then it's too hard to get off of at that point.
Why are we playing on a...
I play on a train trestle in Lubbock all the time, but it was not active.
But not functioning. Why are we playing on a functioning train trestle when we know people be dying? Because you can't hear the train come.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, there was, I didn't even mention it in my research, but I did read about a 1980s movie about the Goatman, but I think they called him the Sheep Man, and that train track. And so it grew in popularity. So a lot of kids were going out there. So a lot of people were actually like, can you get rid of this movie? You're romanticizing this bridge and it's killing all these kids.
People.
And
interesting.
The movie is still clearly, you can still find it somewhere if it's been mentioned. But that was kind of one of the things, is it grew in popularity. And it's almost like a lot of these places where the Goatman seems to kind of be around bridges and things like that. And it's almost like a rite of passage when you're in high school to be like, oh, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
You got to think the Baker Hotel. A lot of people are like, yeah, I broke in there. That it's like a rite of passage.
The witch's tomb.
Yeah.
At our cemetery. Yeah.
And Lubbock, where I went to college, we had Hell's Gate. It was kind of like a thing. Everyone did it. It was just like a, like I said, rite of passage. And so, or even out here, the old Carter Church, or Carter's Road, the church out here, that was a popular thing to do. And I mean, now it's burned down, but it was a popular haunted spot for people to go.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a haunted thing that people did. And I also think people don't always realize how permanent the things are that they're doing.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yep, sure did. Killed these people too. Okay, yeah, so I was also going to say I'll insert a picture in the video just so you can see what the bridge looks like if you watch us at all. And if you don't watch us, then you can get on Instagram, because we post for every single episode. We post on Instagram a series of photos that goes along with episodes. So the bridge will be on there, because sometimes it's hard to describe or hard to imagine.
To see it.
But it is actually a really beautiful bridge. They need to have a pedestrian path. They need, if this many people are really doing this, they need a pedestrian path, because it is really pretty. So in 2013, a man named David Lewis was interviewed, and he actually grew up in Fern Creek, which was about 10 minutes south of that trestle, the Poplick trestle. And David and his friends had always heard that the monster actually resided at a small concrete bridge on South Poplick Road rather than on the trestle itself. So that is where David and his friends would go look to catch a glimpse. And in 1964 or 1965, David and his friends saw what he believes to be the Poplick monster. David claimed he saw it down in a hollow trying to hide behind a tree, and it was covered in white hair, which I'd always heard most of the stories say brown, greasy, matted fur. So this one, he says, white hair all over its body, red looking eyes. It looked like a man. and that the creature never came towards him and it didn't have horns, but it was 6 feet tall or 6.5 feet tall, like all the other accounts. So, not sure what he was seeing, but he did encounter the creature again. A few weeks after this incident, he saw the same creature climbing the railing of a different small bridge, and he shared during the interview that while the sightings did not create a media frenzy like the Maryland one does or later on the Texas one does, but a bunch of people still came forward and would talk about their experiences. And so there was even a local Jeffersontown policeman, and actually whenever he shared his experience, his sanity was questioned and he was released from the force.
Yeah, that's it right there.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
And another man went to the same place David did, where he had seen the creature, hoping to experience the same thing. And he describes his more like a movie. So he parks his motorcycle on the bridge, waits, sees the creature. He's so eaten up with fear, he can't, kickstart his bike fast enough to get out of there. And so once he finally gets it fired up and he's on it, the creature is like reaching for him. He said he got scratched on his back. So during the interview, David also said that in recent years is when he had first heard the circus freak story. He had never heard it that way. And that the monster had always just been called the Poplick Monster, not Goatman, and that he was part sheep and not part goat. The story that David always knew was that there was a farmer who was a little too close to his sheep, and that is what created the Poplick Monster. So, don't know why in recent years the story has changed from what was originally, I guess, Sheep Man of Poplick Monster. I don't know, instead of Goatman.
Poplick Monster sounds very Scooby-Doo-esque. I'm thinking, I'm thinking of like a cartoon monster.
Yeah, like their villains.
Yeah.
Their villains are literally like the Creeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm like, okay.
I could see it.
The Marsh Monster.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah. That's how I felt this guy, the one on his motorcycle. It felt very like that was like a Scooby-Doo thing. Like, or you dropping your keys before you can get your door unlocked.
And you're like, pick up your damn keys!
Yeah,
Jesus
literally.
Christ!
Or they're running and they fall. How did you fall?
There's nothing there.
Literally nothing there.
Get your ass up. Run.
Get the hell out of there.
Stop looking behind you.
Yeah. Slows you down.
Run straight. Just run.
Just run. Find the North Star. Something.
Follow your heart.
Yeah. So finally, this monster was also said to have chased a Boy Scout troop out of the woods by pelting them with stones.
Oh.
Which is fairly similar to another Goatman that I recently discovered. Are you ready for this one?
No.
No.
Am I? I don't know.
It's the Goatman of Weatherford. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, it is the Goatman of Lake Worth.
What?
I had never heard of the Goatman of Lake Worth. And I've gone to Lake Worth a lot. Aaron and I go to Lake Worth, that's the movie theater we go to. Because we had for a long time, we had a membership with them. They're comfortable, easy, nice. And so we would go to Lake Worth. Then we eat there at dinner there. We just go to Lake Worth. And his family's all from kind of Lake Worth. So I was very surprised I'd never heard of this.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about this. Never heard it.
Yeah, so oddly enough, though, the first claim of the Lake Worth's Goatman was a year prior to all of the articles written in Maryland. So a lot of people will say the birthplace of him is in Maryland. But a year prior to that is the first reports of him being in Lake Worth. So interesting. Not really sure how to take that, but that is noted. So the first article of this Goatman was labeled "Fishy Man Goat Terrifies Couples Parked at Lake Worth."
Okay.
And it was published on July 10th of 1969. So on July 10th, Mr. and Mrs. John Reichart, maybe? It's Reichart.
Reichart. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say Reichart, so I'm going to go with Reichart,
Yeah.
something like that. So they were parked at Lake Worth with two other couples when they encountered the savage creature that would become known as the Lake Worth Monster or Goatman. A large, hairy animal described as a cross between a human and a goat leapt out of the treetops and onto the hood of their car. The weird twist with this creature is that it also had scales. I don't know. I have no clue. But John told the police that the beast tried to grab his wife through the open window, but that they were able to all drive away quick enough and drive straight to the nearest police station where they shared their encounter. The Reicherts actually were able to show the police an 18-inch gash going down the side of their car. And in that same article, the police admitted that they were receiving complaints about a strange creature at Lake Worth for over the last 2 months. But the police wrote not only their account off as a prank, but all of the other ones that they were getting, all the other calls, they were writing those off as pranks as well. So it's another thing where like the cops are just
they're like, nah,
not doing that today.
Yeah. You lie.
Yeah.
You sit on a throne of lies.
So on the next day, on July 11th, a man named Jack Harris witnessed the creature crossing a road that led to Lake Worth's nature center. Jack had set out looking for the creature, as many of the other people did, because the article came out, and so they all were like,
everybody's like, we gotta find this guy.
You're from Texas. They're all walking around with guns and lanterns and whatever bullshit they're trying to do, hunt this creature that they all think they're going to kill and claim. That's just how Texas is.
Yeah. I'm gonna mount him on my fireplace.
For real. They would. If they caught him, they would.
Yes.
Ugh.
That's a prize trophy right there.
Can't blame them, honestly.
Mm-mm.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Scary.
But hell yeah.
Yeah.
But hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
It's like, you know what? Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Jack set out looking for the creature, as many of the other people in the town did. And not long after Jack witnessed the creature, a group of about 20 to 30 people watched this creature as it walked up and down a bluff. So when the witnesses tried to get closer, the creature actually lifted a car tire, rim and all, that was near it, and hurled it like 500 feet toward the crowd. And the police said when they arrived, they kind of laughed it off, tried to get rid of like the frenzy, but then a strange howl came from the woods, and it even sent the policemen scattering back to their cars.
Oh shit, gotta go.
I am not here to protect and serve. I am here to run.
I'm running away. Goodbye.
So various witnesses that day said that the creature weighed about 300 pounds, walked on 2 legs, and was covered in whitish gray fur with scales.
That's throwing me off.
All I can think of is like maybe the back and head being goatee, and then the torso is like man with abs with scales, and then the legs is like goatee
I'm
again.
thinking like leathery skin. You know, like not like fish scales, but like
almost like
more
a gorilla's belly or something, kind of like leathery looking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like dinosaur-y, like crocodile-y.
I'm thinking
which
of
also
like,
doesn't make sense, but
I'm thinking of that old I hate my brain. The old books that we used to read, and it was the fish books that were like metallic scales.
Yeah.
That's where my head's at. With Goatman everywhere else. I couldn't tell you why.
I will say that my depiction in my brain of Goatman is like grayish white fur.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most goats are kind of like a gray, white, or like brown with like a black kind of
like
down their
more
back.
gray, but like a little bit of like white scattered in there.
See, I think mine goes to like black or really dark fur, solely based off of like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, like the creatures that I've seen in the movies. But realistically, goat fur is not. I don't think there's black goats, but for the most part, they are kind of like the brownish with like white bellies. Yeah.
There's about 17 of them that live next door, so
see them every day. Just wait till one of them stands up.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I will lose my mind.
No.
God. No.
You know what? You can have my house.
Yeah, you know what? I'm moving out.
So eventually, as time passed, many different people have come forward claiming to be the Lake Worth monster, but no one's really ever like been able to prove that it was them. There's been like polygraph tests where they're like, okay, let's do a polygraph test for you to actually. It's almost like people want to step up and like take the fame, like their claim to fame. But
okay,
that was really the only.
Find something else to do with your life.
Yeah, if you're Goatman, Lake Worth Goatman's fishy scaly monster. But yeah, those are really the only stories I was able to dig up on that. But I do kind of want to ask like Aaron's mom if she's heard anything funny, or his dad, or like his aunts. So now let's go to the Goatman we all know about. So this Goatman is Goatman's Bridge in Denton.
Woo!
So this is the one I think that really piqued my interest when I was looking at Goatman.
The OG.
Yeah, it was the one I knew about that I was like, this is the one we're gonna talk about. But there's a lot. It's really hard to find stories on this Goatman. He is. People don't really share him, I guess.
Yeah, probably because they're scared to literal death.
Yeah. Well, this Goatman, he haunts the old Alton Bridge, which is known as Goatman's Bridge, and it connects Denton with Copper Canyon. It actually used to be somewhere in this area was a city named Alton, and it was crazy because I was trying to like, I'll listen to other podcasts and see what information they get and whatever. See if I like it, whatever.
Yeah.
I was listening to Scared to Death, and he was like, yeah, it's the city of Alton, not to be confused with the city of Alton in South Texas in Hidalgo County. And I was like, we're the city engineers for Alton in South Texas,
Yeah.
Hidalgo County. That's who I just went on the conference with, was the city of
Yeah.
Alton. And I was like, okay, now this is my sign that I am, because I wasn't sure if I was going to do Goatman
You're
again
like, we're
yet or
doing
not.
it.
And I was like, that's my sign. We're going back. And so there used to be a city of Alton, but it kind of merged into other cities from what I understand, like changed like the seat of it to where now it's basically what is Denton from what I could find on that.
Well, yeah, Denton's grown a lot.
Probably just like Weatherford, how we're just like eating.
Mhm.
Like we basically, when I think of Weatherford, I think of Willow Park and Hudson Oaks as Weatherford. I don't
Yeah.
think of them as their own
Yeah.
municipalities, but they are. So in 1884, this bridge was used by horses and pedestrians to cross over Hickory Creek. And since it was originally built for horses and pedestrians, it is extremely narrow, so it's a one-car bridge. And so whenever cars would attempt to cross it, they would have to stop and honk their horn to oncoming traffic to like let them know that they were coming. Because from what I understand, it's like the bridge and it kind of curves. We haven't been. We need to go.
Yeah, I want to see it
During the
day.
But it apparently kind of curves and has a lot of, so you wouldn't be able to see
What's coming
even like
around.
headlights at nighttime. So
Yeah.
they said you had to use your horn a lot. But this bridge was closed to vehicular traffic in 2001 because a new and more efficient bridge was built pretty much right next to it. And so locally, the bridge is known as Goatman's Bridge and is said to be haunted by a half-man, half-goat figure called Goatman. This belief is based on the legend of a black goat farmer named Oscar Washburn, and he was said to have lived somewhere near the bridge and was really successful, like a really successful goat farmer. He sold, meat, milk, cheese, hide, all the things. And he apparently had a sign on the bridge that said, "This way to Old Man," or like Goatman or something like that. And, as a successful African-American man, there was unfortunately people in Texas who did not like that. I don't really like saying it, but it was the KKK. I don't like saying the whole thing, but
yeah, because why do they have to be associated with Texas? But here we are.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. No, I don't really like all of that, but I mean, there needs to be awareness to all of it clearly.
It's
but
a real thing.
And so, anyways, they went and took this successful man out of his home, took him to the bridge, hung him, and when they threw him over, they were expecting to hear like a splash or see him, and when they looked, he was no longer there. And whether they were nervous about this now or if they were feeling more vengeful, they went and burned his house and killed his whole family. And so the kind of legend is that he became the Goatman and attacks people
Haunts the
because
bridge.
he killed his family, killed his livelihood. But there's also a lesser known legend that predates the lynching of this Oscar Washburn, which Oscar Washburn, I do believe you actually can find that he was murdered. I don't know if it necessarily says he was hung off the bridge and stuff like that, but he is a name that was in that town and was murdered in that era. So take that what you will, but there is a lesser known legend that predates the lynching of Oscar Washburn, and it was said that a local Creole man was hung from a tree nearby where the bridge was constructed, and his noose severed his head from his body, and voodoo was used with a goat's head to revive his body.
Ooh.
And locals warn that if you cross the bridge at night without headlights, you'll see the Goatman. And I think the whole headlights thing comes more from probably like when the Klansmen went across the bridge. I think that they had turned their lights off. Not really sure why you have to turn your lights off, but I think it's a very common, the stories that I had heard about Goatman, even outside of that one in Denton, is like you go to the bridge, you honk 3 times, you flash their headlights, like turn it all off, and when you turn it all back on, either your car won't turn on or you'll see, Goatman standing at the end of the bridge. Whatever. It's kind of like the Bloody Mary situation. I think there's a different way to do it every time. And so now actually the bridge is no vehicular traffic can go there, so you can't do the whole honking, knocking, whatever it may be, or you can't do the whole honking, flashing your lights. And so they say you have to knock on the bridge 3 times and say like, "Goatman, I'm here for you," or something like that, and then you'll be able to see him at the end.
I won't be participating in that.
No, there's have you ever heard of BuzzFeed? So BuzzFeed had a whole like haunted thing, and one of the guys seems to be a very large believer and the other guy is just like straight up skeptic, he's a fool. Everywhere they go, he's like, come and get me, ha ha ha. And he basically did that here. He was like, come and get me, Goatman. This is my bridge now. And
Relax.
yeah, but they do, like, if you watch the video, you can hear like the enhanced audio, you can hear like stuff going on in the background, and but like when he's there, you can't hear any of it. And he's like, ha 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 ha, like taunt, 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 taunt.
Yeah.
And then in the background later on, you hear it, and it's like, okay, no.
You're
thank
like,
you.
yeah, ooh, maybe don't do that ever
Yeah.
again.
That sounds like a really bad idea, actually.
Ugh.
So, ghostly figures and strange lights are said to appear and be in the surrounding woods, as well as visitors being touched, grabbed, and having rocks thrown at them. There's also said to be an altar type of location where sacrifices have occurred.
Oh, yeah.
Which kind of lends to the idea of like rituals being more of what's in this area, like the dark thing that brought this area in. But I do believe when Sam and Colby go, they do show like the altar. It's like got paint and stuff on it. And I was looking through Reddit trying to find stories to tell and share. And one of the stories was that they had actually found the altar space. And then like 10 feet away, there was a black goat, like pretty much mutilated, like it had been used in a ritual.
Ew.
Yeah. Which is horrifying.
Yeah.
And like, what are the odds that you go there the night that they're doing a ritual and you see that rather than Goatman? Like, I don't know which one I would prefer to see. Neither, but I'm like, which one would I actually prefer to come across?
Yeah.
You know?
Because at least if you like see Goatman, you could like maybe make yourself believe that you were just making yourself believe that and that wasn't real and it didn't really happen. You see somebody doing a sacrifice, I'm out. A blood sacrifice? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Who's to say they don't turn and grab you? Like, they're like, we don't know you. What are you?
Yeah.
What are you to me?
Yeah. Let's just blood sacrifice you.
Yeah.
How about that?
You're next.
No. Which is probably why that area is so dark.
Yeah, I
because
think
people are
it.
probably still using it for rituals.
Yeah, even in the
just for shits and giggles.
The Ghost Adventures episode, I don't necessarily know if they had nefarious intentions, but they did do like a little ritual like under the bridge. Can't find the episode, so I'm like, I don't know what their
why?
I watched it a long time ago, but I don't remember. So I'm like, I don't know what their goal was. And apparently they had a lot of stuff happen in their episode. Like Aaron got thrown 20 feet, and Jay Walsley, his wife, worked with them on the show as well at that time and had so much like, she like, I think in one of the interviews, someone said like her eyes got so dark and so black that like she was like possessed kind of. And I don't think she's really worked on the show again like since that episode.
Then. Yeah.
So they had a lot of like really creepy stuff happen. And then Sam and Colby go there and they have creepy stuff happen. It's like them and Call Me Chris and Selena Spooky Boo, the girl who sleepwalks. And she calls that she was supposed to go with them and she's extremely sick. Like the morning they wake up, she feels sick. And so she's going home, but like Chris and Sam and Colby still go. And as they're doing all of it, they're getting a tour before they start to actually like do the investigation part of it. And Selena calls them and she's like, there's certain parts of the night, like I had a dream on the plane and if you see two trees that are doing this, like don't go near them. And they had just been told like there's these two trees that like crisscross and have this issue and whatever. And she's like, Sam's gonna end up alone at the end of the night crying, and like she like says all this stuff. And like throughout the night they're like, pay attention because that's exactly what she said was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it really does seem like natural. It doesn't seem like they like played into it, you know? But it was really weird. So they go and like the Twin Paranormal go and they all have really weird stuff happen. I don't want to like tell you how every episode goes. Just go watch it. But they all have weird.
I vaguely remember the Goatman episode of Ghost Adventures, but not enough to be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I just remember like the wife. I remember it being something that really stuck with her. I don't really remember Aaron getting thrown or any of that, but that seems to have been a problem. So, in the fall of 2013, 4 college friends from the University of North Texas campus decided to go test this urban legend and its surrounding areas. They had heard the stories, a cursed bridge, ghostly red eyes, the woods, and a chilling dare, blah, 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 blah. If you knock 3 times on the bridge, the Goatman will appear. Armed with flashlights and a cheap ghost hunting app, they arrived at midnight. The bridge was eerily silent, save for the distant hoot of an owl and the rustling of leaves. The air smelled of damp wood, and an unnatural chill crept over them. The skeptic of the group laughed as she knocked 3 times on the wooden rail. Goatman, come and get us. No, don't do that.
Girl.
They heard nothing for a few seconds, then a low growl sounded from under the bridge. Then a few seconds later, in the tree line, 2 glowing red eyes blinked in the darkness. They claimed the figure was massive, standing at least 7 feet tall, and that you could not miss the horns on its head. They ran, and the sound of hooves chased them all the way back to their car. As they sped off, one girl looked back and said that she saw the Goatman himself at the entrance watching them leave. Sounds like a no from me.
Big no from me.
So then this one's just kind of a short, I'll just kind of tell you what this girl did. So she went to Goatman's Bridge and was like, she loves doing the spooky shit. She said she's been to the Baker Hotel. She's gone to a lot of the creepy places. And it like gets her excited. Like it's fun for her. She doesn't ever get nervous.
Yeah.
And she said she had barely walked the length of a football field past the bridge into the forest. Because most people, you go over the bridge and then there's a bunch of walking trails. And that's the part that gets kind of scary is more in those trails. There's haunted, like not haunted. There's like abandoned houses and structures and kind of things throughout the woods back there. And she said she hadn't even made it the length of the football field. And it dropped in temperature so dramatically. And she just felt like there was eyes all over her. That she just turned around and left.
She got nervous.
She said by the time she was on the other side of the bridge, didn't feel any fear, didn't feel like the warm air was back. If you're in Texas, you know it's just humid here and pretty warm most of the time. And she said that she had just felt like this, just the temperature drop and just an unsettling chill. But as soon as she walked right back out, and only a football field, and then right back out, and she was just fine.
Gross.
So this person has had 2 experiences there. And the first one is in 2010, a friend and I went out there around 11 p.m. We went walking down one of the bike trails to the left side of the bridge. There are some warehouses that back up to the land and the woods near the bridges, so the trail was lit up enough where we could see all of around us. We stopped in a clearing to decide whether we should go further or turn back. We'd only walked about 5 minutes at this point in time, when we heard a snapping of twigs and crunching of woods to our right. We froze and just stood there trying to see whatever was making the noise. Out of nowhere, we heard very loud stomping footsteps coming at us from the woods, almost as if someone or something was running after us. We were both screaming our heads off and took off running back to the parking lot. I was behind my friend and kept looking over my shoulder. There was nothing behind me, despite me being able to very clearly hear footsteps right behind me, and I could feel the vibrations on the ground under my feet. We made it to the car and left so fast that night we both had horrible night terrors.
I bet.
That would probably give me night terrors as well.
Ugh.
Feeling the vibrations is the creepiest part to me. Because I feel like running and kind of hearing stuff, you can kind of like amp that up in your mind. Like, oh my God. And you could be hearing your own footsteps at that rate, you know? But feeling like the vibration of something else
behind you,
that's horrifying.
Ugh.
That's the part that would probably make me feel a little sick.
Yeah, the presence. Because you can feel a presence of anything.
I feel like it's so easy to feel the presence in like in the woods at nighttime though. I feel like it's so easy to get in your head about something and there's just so many creatures and like
in the dark. Yeah.
So I could see that you can get in your head easy and there's nothing actually going on. So I can see where a lot of it's amped up, but the vibration, that I don't like that.
The physical feeling of one of your senses, not just what you can conjure up in your brain.
Your brains. So her second experience is I went back a couple of years later with my boyfriend and 2 of our friends. One of our friends said he thought there was an abandoned house or building in the woods near the bridge, so we set off to find it. As we walked for about 20 minutes, we came to a heavily wooded area with a lot of trees. My friend and I thought we could see misty outlines of people from behind the trees. We all stopped to look, and we all saw them. We stayed in that area for what felt like 5 minutes and then continued walking. We never found the house or the building. We came out of the woods to the main road, but on the far side of the woods. We thought we had been walking for only an hour, but we got there around 10 and came out of the woods at 3 a.m. There was no way we had walked that long or that far to our knowledge. We had to walk about 2 miles on the main road back to the parking lot. So basically, they got extremely lost and disoriented.
Yeah.
And lost time.
Ugh.
Which Aaron and I did that at Mineral Wells State Park, I think. We did not think we had walked that far. And then I was like, oh, we'll just take the road back because I don't want to walk all back. And we saw a lot of snakes. I was like, I'll take the road. And we had to walk on the road for so long. I was like, how did we get this far off track?
Ooh, yeah.
And that was during the day. It just felt
easy to
like,
do. I couldn't imagine doing that at night. Ugh.
Oh no, at night? Hell no.
You can't see anything around you. Like,
No,
you don't
and
know what your landmarks are.
No, and I could see time going by so fast just because you're cataloging every little thing around you. Like, I would have every flashlight known to man pointing at the ground, making sure there's no copperheads in front of me, or mainly
Yeah.
a snake in front of me, and that would make the time go by fast because you're investigating your surroundings so hard.
Yeah.
If you just like walk through pitch black and aren't worried about that, like you're just walking, that would where I could see where you take no time to get through something.
Yeah.
But if you're like really paying attention, I feel like time goes by really quick.
Mhm. And you don't realize how far you've gone.
So this is just another Reddit story I'd found. It is a girl who was 18 and she's a female. She says I 18F, which means female at 18.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I had to clarify that for you. So she went with her boyfriend and friends to Goatman's Bridge in Denton in June of 2024. They lived in Frisco, so that's really not that far. She said that everyone in the group was extremely religious, all pretty much Christians, but she wasn't really sure where she stood.
Mhm.
And then she had a friend named Coda, who was very spiritually in tune. So going there, they had no problem, but said she was sadly acting a fool to provoke anything there.
Mhm.
Her boyfriend and her went under the bridge, and she got the most unsettling and dangerous feeling she'd ever felt. She said she ended up crawling her way out from under the bridge and telling her boyfriend to get off of her, but he wasn't actually on her. And she said that she felt paralyzed after this, like she couldn't move. So her friend Coda, the very spiritually in tune one, walked her back to the car, and Coda looked at her and said, I still feel it on you.
Ew.
And it brought her to tears. And so she said 15 minutes down the road, she heard someone said beside her ear her name. And she ended up having to get everything like saged and blessed because she said she already had a dark entity at home. So basically she went there and picked up another one.
Girl,
Yeah.
you better find something to pray to because you be collecting these spirits.
Yeah. Find something.
Like infinity stones. No, ma'am.
That is so scary. And that story, I didn't tell that one very well, but still, that's terrifying to think of going to the bridge and being like, ha ha ha, so funny. Your friend saying, I still feel it on you?
Yeah.
Hell no. If you looked at me and you're like, something's attached to you or
I'm
sitting on
jumping
your
out the
shoulder
car.
or, yeah, catch me on fire.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Whatever you got to do, get this thing off of
Tuck
me.
and roll.
That was basically Landon getting out of the car the other day.
Tuck and roll, baby.
He really did. He didn't even let me hit the brakes before he was out of the car.
Gotta go.
Yeah, he is so embarrassed. My husband and I have this little car that we literally bought for $1. $1. And it's not a horrible car, but it's really not a great car. Hey, it gets you from point A to point B. I don't mind it. I'm driving it because my car's in the shop.
I think it's a rig. I mean,
It's
honestly.
a driver.
Yeah.
It just to be driving.
Mm-hmm.
I could very easily jump in my husband's truck and drive my husband's truck, but I hate driving his truck because it's lifted and jacked up and you hit one bump and it's like boom and you're off into a ditch because it's just his steering's so loose. And this little car, I just drive.
You just putt that girl around.
Yeah, I forget, and then I look at the speedometer and I'm like, whoa, girl, slow them horses down.
Relax,
Yeah,
queen.
it's just such an easy car to just.
I love her.
It's a little shit box.
I love her.
It's a vibe. Landon, that's what I was saying. Landon, like, I dropped him off at school the other day and he didn't even let me hit the brakes before he was out of the car. He was out. And then I had to pick him up and I was going to pick him up like, I wouldn't say a secluded location, but like somewhere where people aren't going to see him as heavily in it because he's embarrassed by it. And he got his stuff mixed up. So I had to pick him up in the middle of town at Taco Casa and his cheeks were all red. I was like, oh, this poor kid. I think for me, it doesn't bother me because like I know what I've got. Like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And like I said, at the end of the day, it gets you from point A to point B. And I was telling Shae, that thing hasn't come off of full. Like, I thought the gas gauge was broken because it has stayed on full. I live 30 minutes outside of town. It takes me 42 minutes to get to her house. And that thing is still reading full. Straight up.
She is moving and grooving.
Yeah, Aaron's like, it gets like 40 miles to the gallon.
It sure
I was like,
does.
yeah, it does. You're not lying. Because I even thought like it was so broken that I tried to put gas in it. I was like, oh, let's just
I don't trust it.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. And it was clicking off. I was holding it and it was like off. Like at first it barely let some go in there, without me having to hold it. And it kept clicking off and clicking off and clicking off. And I was like, dang, it's full.
This bitch full.
It's full.
We love her.
Yeah, I mean, I said I might start driving that side of my car.
This is a real daily driver right
Yeah,
there.
save some miles. My car's already at like 100,000. Might as well.
Yeah.
I got to 100,000 in no time on that thing. Anyways, sorry. That just reminded me, you said, stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah,
get this demon off me. And I'm like, that's Landon in the car. He's like, get this bitch, get this out of here.
We are tucking and rolling away the demons.
Yeah. So, it was a cool October evening when I first visited Goatman's Bridge. I had heard the stories, of course, But I wasn't one to believe in ghosts. I was a skeptic. I thought I was just going to spend a few minutes there exploring the spot, maybe snapping a couple of photos and then leave. But something about the place felt wrong. The bridge itself was old, wooden, and warped by time and weather. It creaked as I stepped onto it, the boards groaning underfoot, almost as if they were protesting my presence. The air had an unnatural stillness to it, and the wind that had been blowing just moments before seemed to die the second I arrived. I was alone, just me and the darkness stretched in front of me. I took a few pictures, nothing out of the ordinary, just the bridge, the trees hanging low, and the water reflecting and the faint glow of the moon. As I zoomed in on one of the photos, something made me pause. In the distance, just past the bridge, I thought I saw a figure standing by the trees. The image was blurry, but there was something unmistakable about the shape. A person, though I couldn't make out any more of the details.
Of course, the photo was blurry.
I figured it was just a trick of the camera, maybe the reflection of a branch or a shadow cast by the trees, but then I heard it, a soft, almost inaudible sound. At first, I thought it was the wind, but it was too steady, too deliberate. It was a low, guttural sound, like something dragging itself across the ground. I froze. The air around me seemed to grow colder. I checked my watch. It was just after midnight. I was starting to feel uncomfortable, but I told myself it was just my imagination running wild. The stories I'd heard about the bridge, the Goatman, the strange occurrences, kept playing in my head. I shook it off. But then I saw it. Just beyond the bridge, near the edge of the trees, a figure stepped out from the shadows. It wasn't a person. It was tall, unnaturally tall, its body twisted in a way that didn't make sense. Its head was too large for its neck, its limbs too long and spindly. It wasn't quite human, but it wasn't quite animal either. I thought I saw something that resembled hooves for feet, though it was hard to tell in the dim light. The figure stood there, motionless, staring at me. For a moment, I couldn't move. My heart was pounding in my chest. Every instinct told me to run, but my feet were rooted to the spot. I raised my camera, hands shaking, trying to get a shot, but the figure seemed to vanish in an instant, melting back into the shadows of the trees like smoke. The sound stopped too. The bridge creaked again, louder this time, and the wind seemed to return, cold and biting. I didn't know what to think, what to feel. I'd always thought ghost stories were for people who were easily spooked, who let their imaginations get the best of them. But that thing I saw, or thought I saw, I couldn't explain it. It felt wrong, and it felt real. I left immediately after that. I didn't take another photo. I didn't even check to see if the one I had taken had captured anything. I just walked away, my footsteps echoing in the quiet of the night, my mind racing with thoughts I didn't quite want to entertain. The next morning, I looked at the pictures on my camera, half expecting to find nothing. But there, just past the bridge, was the faintest outline of something standing near the trees. Indistinct, but I could swear it was the same figure I had seen in person. I haven't gone back to Goatman's Bridge since that night. I don't know what I saw, but I know that something is out there, something that doesn't belong, and I'm not sure I want to find out more. Some things, I think, are better left unexplored.
Let me see the picture, girl.
I know, I don't have one.
What the hell?
It wasn't attached.
Okay. What are we doing? Why? Why are you telling a story like that, telling me that you have at least 2 photos and you're not going to attach them to the story?
You don't love cliffhangers?
No. I need
really
to know.
I found quite a few on Reddit. I found quite a few EVPs recorded at Goatman's Bridge.
Ooh.
Didn't listen to them.
Oh.
I was a little nervous.
A little nervy.
But I did find some. So the last story that I will leave you off with is from my lovely brother-in-law, Eugene. So there is actually a Goatman's Bridge in Mineral Wells.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how popular it is there, but when I asked PJ about it one time, I said, hey, where is it at? Because I couldn't get a hold of Eugene or something. I don't know. I asked PJ. And he said, oh, yeah, it's on Union Hill Road. Like, he knew about it.
Yeah.
Like, he knew what was going on, and he went to school there and everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. So Union Hill Road is in this area. It's northwest of Mineral Wells, kind of-ish, like if you go a little bit past Mineral Wells. And so it's kind of this it's a long road, but it's part of this area called Devil's Hollow. And so that's actually where my wedding was supposed to be, was in Devil's Hollow, but rain and everything had to move it. And down there's Union Hill Road, Union Hill Cemetery, and I couldn't find the bridge. I was trying to find it, not like, I didn't go drive around.
Mm-hmm.
I got on Google Maps, couldn't find it, finally found it, because it's not like right next to the cemetery. It's down a long winding road. But I found it, and so it's the same legend. There's a Goatman's Bridge. You honk your car horn, you wait, turn it off, blah, 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 blah. And so my brother-in-law one time said that, why not? Like,
let's go.
He's a kid who grew up in Mineral Wells. What do
Yeah.
you expect? And he said that him and I don't know if he was with his brother. I would assume with his brother, just causing mayhem. And they went out there and did the whole car off, flashing lights, honking horns. And he did see something at the other end of the bridge. And so he said, I'm going to go get it. Eugene is a man's man. Like, he is a man. And he chased whatever this was, right? He wasn't really sure what he was chasing. He just saw like this black figure, started chasing it, runs up on a ritual. And he said, you want to hear a grown man scream? And he got the hell out of there.
What was I just saying?
Yeah.
Literally.
And that's what he had seen. He had ended up like following someone go, like a ritual person. And he took out. And Eugene, like, I can't even imagine him running and screaming from anything. Like, he is a man. So
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that.
Oh, hell no.
And I'd never asked, like, at what age this happened to him. I don't know if it was high school. I don't know if it was in his, 20s. Like, I don't know. But I need to ask, because he told me that story a long time ago. And I asked, like, when we were in high school, because I am an asshole. And I was trying to get a group together because we did these things called family dinners. It was, Shae was involved. We did family dinners. Yeah, but you were there a lot. But we did family dinners. We had this really big group of friends. And we would all rotate, like, whose house we all cooked at. And, like, clearly we all lived with our parents, so we were all in high school.
Yeah.
But we all rotated homes, and we all just spent a lot of time together. And I was trying to get the group to go out there, and I was going to drive. I had a 4Runner at the time, like a 2005 4Runner. And if you kept it in drive and turned it off, but hit the parking brake, it clearly wouldn't go anywhere, and you'd be able to get out. But then I could turn my car off, but if I tried to turn it back on while it was in that state, it wouldn't have turned back on.
Yeah.
And so I was going to do the whole bullshit flashing lights and act like my car wouldn't turn back on. Yeah. But then everyone after that's like, oh, I'm going to drive my car and I'm going to drive my car. And I was like, oh, well, that ruins it.
That ruins the fun.
Yeah, I was just going to scare we still should have done it, but I had a whole plan to scare the shit out of everybody.
So you were like, never mind.
Yeah, we ended up just never doing it, but we should have still just to.
Everybody wanted to drive their big old truck, their fast black smoke blowing, diesel rolling truck. Nobody wanted to ride in Milfy.
Nobody wanted to ride in Milfy. I wanted to ride in Milfy. Milfy, good girl. She a good time.
Oh, that's funny.
I hated my high school car. And then at first, I was such a little ungrateful brat about it. And then very short.
It's a nice car.
Yeah, very quickly, I was like, your car, you got your mom's old car that was like, it looked badass, like had the touch screen.
She was old. That's still to this day my favorite car.
I know, I miss my car. Like Caden just bought a brand new truck and for the minute he had discussed getting rid of his 4Runner and I was like, I might buy it.
Dude, yeah, that 2006 Lincoln, first of all, she was ahead of her time, cooled and heated seats.
Yeah.
To this day, I have still not had a car that has cool seats. She had a touchscreen radio. I had Bluetooth and she was fast.
Yeah.
That girl scooted.
Yeah. I was so jealous when you got your car. I was like, are you kidding me? I get this, and I had a 2005 4Runner that was nice, and then my dad ended up like tinting the windows, put a sound system
lifted
it. My dad turned it into this really badass little bitch, but I was so ungrateful at first, and I feel like such an asshole now. Like as an adult, I'm like,
that's just part of being a teen.
Well, I wanted a fucking Mustang. I wanted a blue Mustang, and he took me to look at one, and then all of a sudden was like, no. I'm like, are you kidding? Why'd you got my hopes up? It was the day he texted me. He said, you can have this. And then he sent me that or a red Kia Soul. And I said, I guess I'll take the black one. I was such an ass.
Imagine you putting around in a Kia Soul.
No.
That's so funny.
And that's the time when it was the hamster commercial car.
Yes.
And so I was like, no.
Yeah. My car was kind of, I think was kind of like a punishment because I didn't even get to drive until I was 17 because I was grounded. Which is a story for another day. Is
it the one where you got grounded and I didn't?
Yes. Yes. For literally the same thing. It had like the wood grain, like panes in it. Well, one of them was like cracked to shit because somebody else had the car before me and they had like kicked it or something and it was like cracked and it was like all dirty and it was old and it got driven. That bitch had some miles on her. And I was like, oh. This is a grandma car. Loved her. Loved that girl.
I know. I miss my car.
Good times.
I want her back. I really do. The only reason I actually really ended up getting rid of her in the first place is because I was driving to Mansfield every day. And that girl did not have gas mileage.
No.
She did not have gas mileage. And I just couldn't. There was no way I was going to get gas every 2 days.
Mm-mm.
And so I ended up driving a little Buick for a little while, which was also a nice car, but the AC didn't work in it a lot. And it was black exterior, black interior, black leather.
No.
In Texas.
Nope.
I had to plan my outfit based off of
how
my
far you had to
sweat.
drive.
My sweat.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I would get out at work and be like, well, there's ass sweat. Sorry.
I stink.
Yeah, that was actually what like encouraged me to buy my car that I have now. Is I didn't mind the car I was driving. I just was like, dang, I need air. And now the car, I have had it like 5 years, but
oh God, what a life!
I think that's so crazy. A car right now, 5 years old, and the AC doesn't work. I am driving a 2007 Kia Sorento or some bullshit like that that I bought for $1. And the AC works. The left blinker wasn't working, but Aaron fucking jammed it last night. Now it works.
I love that car. The lore on that car just gets better and better.
Well,
Honestly.
we got it for $1 because it was my stepdad's car and he's disabled now. And so he couldn't drive it. And my husband works in West Texas. And so instead of driving his really nice Dodge and putting all these miles on it, my mom was like, just take this car, please, for $1. So Donnie gave it to Aaron for $1.
That is
and,
so
we
funny.
put new wheels and there was stuff we had to do just to make it a little bit like more drivable. $1.
Love her.
Yeah.
Love that girl.
She'd be riding. But, yeah. Let's take her to Goatman's Bridge.
Let's take her.
I don't even know if it's a girl.
Let's
What
get
is
her
she?
haunt. Oh, it's definitely a girl.
It's a girl.
That's a
bitch if you've ever met
that
one.
is a ghetto girl. Big
She's a
old gold
great
hoop
car.
earrings, long fingernails.
She really is. She needs I need to put eyelashes on her.
Eyelashes.
She needs eyelashes. And maybe some zebra print seat covers.
Mhm.
She's got seat covers, but maybe some zebra
Absolutely.
ones.
Yeah.
Diamond steering wheel thing. Aaron would
That's
really
a
look
bad
good
bitch.
driving that to
Yeah.
West Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't been driving it since the left blinker hasn't been working, but I guess now he's going to take it again.
Dang.
I honestly am like, take your truck.
Yeah. Let me have her.
He's been driving his truck for the most part. I'm
I'll
like,
treat her
"Take it."
right.
Yeah, I like this baby. Truly, when I get my car back, I think I'm still going to drive it sometimes. Landon's so
formed a
embarrassed by it. I'm like, I don't give a let's get in this bitch, bro.
Let's go beep beep.
Beep, beep.
Beep beep.
I can't believe how ungrateful I was as a kid to have a vehicle that worked.
Mm.
And now I'm like, I'll drive this bitch everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, she maxes out at 72.
Oh, I wouldn't get anywhere.
No, she doesn't max out at 72. I accidentally drive her like 90, but she doesn't scoot. I'll give you that. I was getting on the interstate and I was like, okay, let's go.
Pedal to the metal.
How long is it going to take me to get to 60?
That 0 to 60 is like 2 minutes.
It's the whole on-ramp plus the first mile of the interstate.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I hope y'all love our...
We kind of went off on a tangent there. You know, it's been a while since we've done that.
Yeah, we stayed on track today until now.
Until right now. Yeah.
I
think we did well.
Yes. So now you get to know about the car that I'm driving. It's beautiful. The driver's side has a massive dent and no hubcap.
Listen, if you see her be bopping around,
I
you'll
literally-
know.
I posted a picture of her and I said, don't hate me because you ain't me.
Amen.
And then I parked in my mom's front yard.
Beep, beep. I love that. Why
Yeah.
is my phone blowing up?
People want you.
I guess there's about to be like a knockdown, drag out storm in Fort Worth. They've called me twice.
Damn.
Like the emergency response system has called me twice.
You know? And if I was in my car, I would be worried, but I'm in little bitch boy car. I don't even know what to call it. She needs a name.
Oh.
But she is a gold hoop girly.
She's a hood rat.
She is. Hoopty.
Hoopty
I said, you gonna get in the hoopty? And Landon said, what's a hoopty? And I said, that car.
is the definition
Yeah.
of a hoopty.
I need to get a sticker printed on the back of it that says hoopty.
Yeah, you should.
She's gonna have a makeover before long. So,
I support it.
yeah. So if you have any stories about Goatman or anything creepy that you want us to cover, send them to sistersofthestrange@gmail.com. Feel free to send to our Instagram, TikToks, any of those things. We do check those very regularly.
Mhm.
Maybe start putting in the very beginning Shae or Landrey.
Yeah.
Because I keep
yeah.
opening messages for her, and on TikTok you can't unread a message. So
Yeah.
I just have to remember to say, hey,
Shae does the murder. Landry does the ghosts.
yes. So if you have anything creepy or anything you'd like to share or want us to cover or anything else, send it to us. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to whatever you are listening to. Our YouTube is 60-something% not subscribed, 40% subscribed, or 30-something% subscribed. So
don't be fake.
Yeah.
We love you anyway. Don't worry.
Maybe.
But like,
maybe get your shit together.
Be real. Be so for real.
But I think that's all. Until next week.
And see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.